Hello. Willkommen. As I said already before I started recording, my mom is here today and she will join us. And she's never done this stuff. And she will, she will do her best. She'll see what she can do. And sometimes I will say it in German. Please excuse. Come to standing. Standing. Aufstehen. Okay, so we're going to continue with something we worked on last week, just to check in with our hips. So you're going to stand with your knees bent and you're going to stick your butt a little bit out to the back. So we're not here, but we're sticking the butt out. Exactly. Find your connection in your toes, holding on, and then we're going to just go a little bit side to side. And we're moving the hip to the side, to the left, and we'll move the hip to the right. Keep your knees bent. Good. And this is just to check in. Where is my mobile side? And what's my tighter side? And we're trying to not go so far to the mobile side. And we're just going to try and match both sides together. So here we are, just shifting side to side. Now watch out, is your knee going out? Can your knee stay? And the hip is going out. The knee stays. So das Knie ist nicht raus, geht nicht raus. Das Knie bleibt, ne? Nur die Hüfte geht. And then go to the other side. Nur die Hüfte. Good. So check in, which one is your mobile side? My mobile side is my left side. I can go miles to the left. So I'm going to rein in the left side a little bit. We'll do one more time each side. Just feel into it. Just see what's going here. Very good. And then just get out of this for a moment. Now we're going to put the hands to the hips and we're going to start some circles. We're moving, keeping the knees bent. We're going to move the pelvis as much as you can. Yeah. Hüfte, no? And then reverse, other direction. And again, rein in the side that's more mobile, and the other side, you're good to go anyway. Just becoming aware. And this is probably the side that you're spending more time with during the day when we're not really conscious and thinking about things. Very good. Now let's go to the left and keep the knee bent and see if you can pick up your right leg. Keep the hip out to the side. Top. Set your right foot down. Go to the right, bend the knee, and see either just lifting the heel. Very good. Nice. Go one more time to the left. Pick up the right foot. And now see if we can actually move that right foot a little bit around. And if your foot is still on the floor, that's fine. You can actually have your toes on the floor and move the foot. Get that stability. It's just a little, I mean, it's just a tiny bit of assistance. And then you're going to set your right foot down. You're going to shift to the right, send the hip out, pick up the left foot. So either stay here or do your toes on the floor, little kicks. Yeah. Or you can lift the foot all the way up, but keep your upper body stable. We're not doing this. We're keeping the hip out and we're just moving here. So 3 options: heel lifts, toes are on the floor, or the foot lifts. Very good. And then let that release. Shake it out. Hopefully you can feel this already in the hip. Fühlst du es in der Hüfte? Okay. Now, knees bend. And you're going to keep the knees bent and you're going to just forward bend. Take a moment here. Let your head be really heavy. Tu deinen Kopf loslassen, runterlassen, and then slowly come up. Bend your knees, push into the ground, slowly coming up. Lass den Kopf hängen die ganze Zeit. Try not to lead with your head. The head is heavy and we're leading, we're using our leg muscles to lift up. Okay, we'll do that again. Bend the knees, let the head drop. Yes. Very good. Are you on all four corners of your feet? And then pull your feet down into the floor to slowly come up. We'll do this one more time. Knees bent, sits bones reach back, head drops, rounding the spine. Find your breath here. Maybe your fingertips touch the floor, maybe they don't, and then slowly round yourself up. Very good. Okay, so let's go down to the floor. I'm going to go and begin auf dem Boden. And we're going to sit. So you're going to sit on a pillow. This is so nice having somebody here that I can see. And you have options. You can sit with the feet fairly close. You can sit with the feet further away. Just any form of a cross-legged position. Very good. Now I'll show my side. So what we don't want is this. That's not good. We're going to move the sits bones back. I'm going to stick the butt out. Can you feel that? Yeah. And then push with your feet down into the ground. Drückst mit deinen Füßen in den Boden. And then feel how the legs start to turn on. And just breathe here. And then just let it go. We're going to send the sits bones back. So the pelvis moves forward. And I'm going to push my legs down into the ground. And we're going to breathe. And then just start to turn your head side to side. Keep working your legs. Keep working your glutes. And just turning side to side. One more time. So the idea is that my ribs are stabilized and my head and neck have to move more and the muscles have to work harder. And just let it release. And I'm very graphic today with my release. So we're going to start to let the pelvis roll back and then pull the sits bones back to roll forward. And then you're going to squeeze your shoulder blades together. Stay for a moment. Start with your hip. Pelvis rolls back. Here's our seated cat and cow. I haven't done this in a long time, I think. And then pull the sits bones back. And you're going to squeeze your shoulders together as much as you can. Maybe you're going to look up a little bit. Start with your hip, rolling back, rounding the spine, reaching. Breathe. Exhale, pulling the sits bones behind you. Squeeze the shoulders. And then just turn your head and look side to side again. Keep squeezing the shoulders together. And release. Good. Let's cross the legs the other way. Anderes, yeah. And we're going to pull the sits bones back. Yeah, and just push your legs down. Not with your hands, nicht mit den Händen. Du nimmst deine Füße und drückst die in den Boden. Nee, das ist okay. Merkst du das dann? Yeah, good. Your engagement down is what's going to open the hip. And then let it release. And then send your sits bones back again. And then push the legs down. And then just start to turn your head side to side. Easy breath. Work your legs. One more time. This is so nice to stabilize the ribs and not rotate into the lumbar spine, because that's not really the place where we should be rotating. And then release. And then we're going to do our cat and cow again. We're going to round the spine, let the pelvis roll back, and then pull the sits bones down into the floor, squeeze the shoulders. You can look up a little bit. Keep the diaphragm back. So the chest is not too high. We're going to lower the chest a little bit. And then round the pelvis, kidneys falling back. Pull the sits bones, pull the knees apart. Really hook your pelvis into the floor to pull you a little bit more upright. Squeeze the shoulders. And we'll do one more time. Pelvis rolls back, cat spine. And then sits bones pull back. Here's our cow. We're looking up. And then maybe we'll turn our head again here. Easy turn. Keep squeezing your shoulder blades, keeping your diaphragm back. And release. Very good. Okay, come off the pillow and we're going to go ahead and lie on your side. Now you can use the same pillow here. I'm going to come a little forward. You're going to lie on your side. Just like that.
Aufs Handtuch oder auf Kissen?
Kissen.
Kissen.
Ja, du hast den Kopf aufs Kissen. So this is our fetal position. We're almost going to sleep. Almost. So we're going to stick the butt out and then take the kidneys a little bit back. This is always our first order. Where is my pelvis? I'm going to send the buttocks back. This is our cow spine. We just found seated, and then take the kidneys a little bit back. My right hip is right in line on my left hip. My knees are aligned, my shins are aligned, my big toes are touching. Take your right hand and put it on your right hip and suggest that right hip a little bit forward. And then you're going to pick up your right knee, just the knee, and then lower back down. And lifting the knee, just the knee. Nur das Knie hochheben. And lower down. And just the knee. Now, notice as you lift the knee, the hip wants to roll back. Keep your hip forward and lower down. It's really good to every time before we lift that knee up to send the sits bones back and send the kidneys back. So the work is really right here in your buttocks and lower down. External rotators of the hip. We all need a little more of that. And we'll do one more time. We'll do about 5 to 7 on each exercise. This is one of my favorites for sure. Very good. And then lift the whole leg up. Let's actually lower the leg back down. I'm going to do something else. We're going to take the hand, the right hand, and you're going to tap your right outer hip. Tap it, tap it. We're trying to wake up this muscle that not necessarily likes to work for us. Send the sits bones back and the kidneys back, and then pick up the leg. Hold it there for a moment, and then lower the leg back down. Good. Sits bones back, kidneys back, softening the ribs. Even if the head comes a little more forward, that's not a bad thing. And then picking up the leg. And slowly lowering down. Now, if you feel this a lot on the other side, it's quite normal. The brain loves to mess with us. We're going to try and not push the left hip down, but we're trying to just pick the right leg up. And you can really feel sometimes, wow, I'm really pushing down here to help this. Can I keep that left side, the left hip bone light? Last one, we're going to pick up and then turn the leg and reach the leg. Flex your foot, bend the knee, and lower the leg down. These are our little kicks here. You pick up the leg again. Notice what the ribs want to do. Can I keep them soft? I'm going to turn the leg inward. My toes are pointing to the floor. Bend the knee and lower down. And lift that again. And turn. Now let's keep that leg straight. And we're going to do our little circles here. Tiny circles. Yeah, good. My mom says she's cramping. It's like, that's great. If you have a cramp in your hamstrings here or in your glute, that's excellent. Let's reverse our circle. You can always take a break, right? You want, but every time you pull that leg back, you want to think, butt. Is your glute working? Is your butt pulling your leg back? And then bend the knee and lower down. Now let's straighten both legs. Here's my towel. Both legs on the floor, straight. You're going to pick up your top leg and then see, and this is sometimes a little easier when there's not a pillow, pick up the bottom leg as well. And then lower down. Pick up the top leg, not too high. It's about 10 inches, and then pick up the other leg and see if you can meet the top leg. And maybe if you don't meet it, lower the top leg a little bit down. And then one more time, picking up the top leg, meeting the bottom legs, a lot of inner thigh on the bottom leg. It's going to tell you a lot. Notice side to side what's happening when we do the other side, what's easier. And then turn onto your back for a moment. Straighten both legs. Oh boy, and check this out. Just feel, if everything went well that we did, your right leg is a mile longer than your left leg. Your right lower back is a little more dropped. Maybe your back feels a little bit more comfortable on the floor. That would be huge. And we're going to work a lot on this today. I want to really work more on lower back extension. Very good. Let's do the other side. Fühlst du dann Unterschied von Seite zu Seite? Das machen wir später zusammen. Let's do the other side. Okay. Both knees are bent. You're going to bring your left hip on top of your right hip, soften the kidneys back a little bit. You can even lift the ribs and just set them back. And you're going to pick up the knee. Keep your left hand, kind of can suggest that left hip a little bit forward and then lower down. And you're going to pick up the knee. And don't think of going super high. If your knee goes all the way up to the ceiling, this is way too much. We don't really need that. We really want to feel the work in the glute here. Less is more on this exercise. Picking up the knee, rotating your thigh bone while you're not moving your hip bone. It's very Pilates, moving one thing without moving everything else. Let's do one more time. 5 to 7 is a great number here. And lower all the way down. And then use your left hand. You're going to smack your left outer hip. And then pick up the left leg. And slowly lower down. Doing the fire hydrant. Now you might feel a lot of work on that right hip as well, or engagement, cramping, maybe just, oh, I'm working here, but I'm not working here. The idea is, can I take the pressure out that goes down and just lift that leg up? And time will really be on our side here. The more we do this, the more proficient we get in lifting and using those outer hip muscles, the less the opposite side is going to want to work. Keep the leg lifted, keep your left hip a little forward, kidneys back, and you're going to turn the leg to the floor. So letting the toes and the knee really rotate down. You're going to bend the knee again, retracting it and lower down. And you're going to lift. Noticing if the ribs want to push down, maybe we need a little mouse house here. Turn the leg and reach. Now, if this is your more mobile side, you got to hold that hip slightly in. And I'm always going to try and make you aware of that. But the huge part is if you become aware yourself, what's moving too much. Bend and lower. Let's do this one more time. Into the kick, turning the leg down, and we're going to do little circles here, tiny circles. Keeping the hip very stable, and every time your leg goes back, your glutes should be really yelling at you and saying, what's going on? You can even put your hand to your buttocks muscle and feel, oh, is there engagement happening there? And then bend the knee. We're lowering down. Take a little moment. Your more looser side, I would think, is going to be that side that hurts more because it's just not as strong. Straighten both legs. Maybe the pillow goes out of the way, you can even prop yourself up, but this is fine. You're going to pick up the top leg, flex both feet, and then see if you can have the bottom foot meet the top foot and lower down. And top leg lifts, bottom leg follows. Notice if you want to hyperextend your spine, if you can go soften the ribs back, and with that, feel how your glutes are way more engaged. We'll do one more time. Top leg lifts, flex the foot, and then bring that bottom leg up and let those inner thighs really work. Turn on the glutes, send the kidneys back, and release that down. Roll onto your back. Straighten both legs. And just check this out. This always blows my mind, I have to say, how beautifully we can coax inches of length out of our body by working our hips. It's pretty phantasmagorical. All right, you're going to bend your knees. If you want, if you need to, if you feel like your head is in a bad position, put a pillow underneath your head. I don't need that right now, but you're going to bring your arms down by your side. And let's just do a couple of little pelvic tilts here. So just feeling is there a hip that moves a little faster than the other? Or are both hips, can I make both hips move at the same speed? And that means probably reining in the hip that moves more than the other. Very good. And then we're coming to rest with the sits bones heavy and the kidneys heavy. And you're going to straighten the right leg. And straightening meaning not hyperextending, but there's a little bend in my right knee. And I'm going to slowly lift my right leg up. Now, we don't want to go so far that my pelvis starts to tilt and spill towards me. We want to keep the sits bones heavy, and you're going to slowly lower that right leg back down. The heel might gently touch. Don't rest it. You're going to pick up the leg again. We're going to add a little bit on. Can you pull the shoulder blades a little bit more into the ground? Maybe your left foot pulls into the ground and slowly lower that right leg back down. We're going to do 3 more. You might feel this a lot in your quads. That's not a bad thing. That's great. And you, at this point, when we're approaching 90 degrees hip flexion, you might feel this in your hamstrings. And maybe you won't approach 90-degree hip flexion. Maybe your leg stops right here. That's fine too. We're not trying to get the leg up at any cost. We're always focusing on the hips first. Where is my hip? Is my hip still parallel? And then we're going to make little circles here with that right leg. Now, if you want to make this a little harder, you could lengthen the left leg out as well. But you can definitely keep your left foot on the floor and circle without moving your hip. Now, the bigger your circle, reverse it. You can add, you can make it bigger and bigger and bigger every time. The further out your right leg goes to the right, you're going to see what happens. You have to work your obliques much harder to not totally roll onto the right side, because we're not going to, that's not part of the exercise. Last one more circle, big or small, without moving your hip. Ugh. And then lower the right leg all the way down to the floor. And then lengthen the left leg as well. And then check that out again. How does your right hip compare to your left hip? How does your right lower back compare to your left lower back? Maybe even your right leg turns out more now and is more released in comparison to the left leg. So another great tool, just another exercise to help us get out of that hyperextension that most of us have in that upper lower back or lower middle back. You're going to bend both knees again. And we're going to keep the right foot on the floor, and we're going to go straight and lengthen the left leg and start to lift the left leg up. Now, again, notice my leg is slightly bent, and I'm going to slowly lower down. Also feel into the ribs. Are the ribs lifting up while I'm moving my leg? In the perfect world of Pilates, and there is no such thing, we're not going to move our ribs to move our legs. We're going to just pick and choose which part of the body, in this case, it's my leg, I'm lifting and lowering. And boy, I can feel the difference. My left quad is already shaking here because it's just not as strong as my right quad. And it's good. Just observe it. Don't judge it. We're working on it. We'll do one more time. Are your hips still parallel? Are your hips still even? Is the left hip trying to hike up to your armpit to help you lift the leg up? Keep that left leg up. Now we're going to start with little circles. We're going to start with maybe apple-sized circles. And toes relaxed. There's no point or anything. We're just, the more relaxed your foot is, the more work you're going to feel in your leg and hip. And let's increase the size of the circle. And notice as that left leg goes to the left, you have to work your left obliques quite a bit. We're going to make a bigger circle and a bigger circle. And then we're going to reverse our leg circle. And here you can stay in your big circle. This is so good for the hips. The hip joint is such a round, perfectly round joint. And we don't really move round in our hips anymore. Such a tragedy. One more big circles. Feel how much work you can actually bring into your shoulders as you're pulling down with your triceps and your shoulder blades to stabilize your hip, and then lower the left leg all the way to the floor. Lengthen the right leg as well. And just check it out. Wow. Like your whole body's already changed. My whole body's already changed. Very good. Okay, let's bend the knees. Feet are flat on the ground, about hip distance apart. Pull your feet into the ground. We're going to bridge. I should say that probably first. So the main focus on the bridge is to not go all the way up, right? We don't want to do that. We want to pull the feet into the ground and lift the pelvis just a tiny bit up. Whoa, hamstring cramp. Nice. So shoulders pull down, feet pull down, and then the pelvis lifts up. Very, very small. Nicht so hoch, Mutti. And lower down. You're going to pull the feet to the shoulders and lift your pelvis up. Now let the inner thighs drop a little bit. Work your feet harder, pulling them towards your hips, isometrically contracting those hamstrings. Drop the diaphragm, drop the kidneys, and we're lowering back down. I wouldn't mind if your pelvis would lift as little as that your pants are going to still be touching the ground. There's no need to go really high, especially if we have some postural alignment challenges, let's say. To get the pelvis really high, it's going to default into your pattern that we're looking to actually change. And we're going to lower back down. Let's do one more time. Pull the feet, make sure all of your toes are heavy. Pelvis lifts up, sits bones are still heavy. And then use your feet more. So they're pulling more to your pelvis. Soften the kidneys, lift maybe higher. Let where the thigh bone and the sits bone meet, that underwear line, depending on what underwear you wear, obviously. That's a weird, my teacher would always say that the underwear line, but depending really, you're going to lift the pelvis a little higher. So right where the buttocks and the hamstrings meet, that line there, that's where you want to work from. And then lower down, and then straighten your legs again. Just feel that. Are we longer yet again? I have a new client and she's very tall. And when I say, oh, you feel any taller? And she says, yeah, but I don't want to be much taller. So depending on where we are. But length decompression of the body is always a good thing. But she always makes me, she now makes me think about she doesn't want to be taller necessarily. I'd like to be taller. All right, we'll do one more thing. You're going to bend the knees, feet together now. You're going to pull the shoulders down into the floor. You're going to lift your pelvis up and you're going to shift. You're going to think to the right and you're going to pick up your left leg. So see how that goes. You're going to lower the left foot down. You're going to shift the pelvis to the left and you're going to pick up your right leg. And you can pick up any amount. This is not, I'm already going really far here. We're going to go back to the right, picking up left leg. And you can really do whatever you want with that left leg. Let's be a little more crazy today. I'm going to go back to the left foot. Make sure your sassy hip, if the left side is your mobile side, rein her in. Pick up the right leg. Use the foot, pull down. Use those left hamstrings. We're going to go one more time each side. We're going to shift to the right. Pull your right shoulder really down into the ground. Pick up the left leg. And now let's lower the left leg down. Maybe the heel is going to touch the ground. Pick the left leg back up. And you're going to slowly let the ribs soften, kidneys soften. Try not to arch your back to get that foot toward the ground. It doesn't even matter if your foot touches the ground. We'll do one more like that. Keep the softness in the rib cage. Pull that left heel down. Dig it into the ground. Breathe here. Hold your asymmetrical bridge. Let the left buttocks be on fire and then lower your pelvis down. and straighten both legs. And yet again, feel how much more dropping we have achieved of our body into the earth. And then bend both knees yet again. Last one here. We're going to have the feet close together. Pull your feet down, pull the shoulders down, sits bones heavy, kidneys heavy. That'll never really change in this position. We're going to lift the pelvis up. We're going to shift onto our left leg, right? Yeah, left leg. Rein her in or rein that right side in. You have to become so aware. We're going to straighten the right leg up to the ceiling. And we're going to do our 3 leg lowers. Keep pulling the right shoulder a lot down into the floor and lift the right leg back up. Is your pelvis still parallel? Did your right hip drop? Can we keep that right hip lifted? And we're going to pull with our glute and hamstring to get that leg down to the floor. On this side, I can tell that if this is the tighter side, you're not going to probably touch your heel to the ground. That might be very well possible. It's okay. You don't have to. Rather than arching your back to get that heel down, not a good idea. Now, you can even bend that knee quite a bit. Pull the heel down, pull the left foot down, find your breath, drop the kidneys. Work your shoulders. How much more work can you get into your shoulders? And then lower the pelvis. Whew, straighten both legs. And check it out again. Beautiful. Reach both arms overhead, flex both feet, and just lengthen your body for a moment. So it's like a yawn. It's this reaching yet pulling at the same time. I'm going to reach and pull my right heel and the right heel of my hand away from each other. But at the same time, we're engaging the right obliques to not overstretch here. And then reach the left heel and the left hand away from each other, but turn on your left glute. You can squeeze your butt here. It's totally fine. And we're not going to overstretch it. We're going to hold a little bit back. And I promise you, the more you hold back, especially in this, the harder you have to work. Let's go one more time each side. Right heel, right hand, reaching away. Keep engaging the right glute. And then left heel and left hand, reach it away. And then let that release. And we'll work a little bit head and neck. I'm going to take a moment. Legs are straight. Arms are by your side first. You're going to engage your glutes and you're going to lift your head. You're going to look at your toes. We're feeling the work underneath your chin and then slowly lower the head back down. Let the glutes release. We're going to squeeze the butt. We're going to lift the forehead. Look at your toes. Notice if your chin is pushing forward. We're going to keep the skull actually settled quite back. We're going to look, and slowly lower down. Let everything release. Every time we want to train the body to work in as full of a range of motion as we can. Engage your buttocks, lift your head, look at the toes, and then just turn your head side to side. Moving, keeping your chin dropped. Use your eyes. And then come back to center and lower down. All right, so this one is for my mom because we just did this exercise before class. You're going to reach both arms up to the ceiling. We're going to lift both legs into a table. Now, I have to say my mom is 80 years old. She's never done this stuff before, and she did really, really good. So we're going to go ahead and reach the legs up to the ceiling. Now, if you're not 80 and this is challenging, it's not a problem. We're going to just reach and bend the legs and then just finding a little rhythm here. and figure out, notice how your ribs want to react. Since we're not having our shoulders here either, how the ribs want to react to the straight legs. And let's keep the legs a little longer. And then we're going to lift our head up and look through our legs. Finding our breath. Now maybe the legs move a little bit over to the left. So my right hip is lifting up here. Maybe my hands reach a little bit to the right. Slowly bringing the pelvis back down. Take the legs over to the right, look to the left, and take your hands to the left. We've done this one before, right? This is usually our kind of like a dead bug exercise, maybe. Come back to center. If your head is hurting, if your neck is hurting, you're gonna lower down, pick it back up whenever you're ready. We're gonna do this one more time. You're gonna go to the left with your legs and lift your head, look to the right, look through your hands. You're twisting. Come back to center. Take the legs to the right, and you're going to take your hands to the left. We're going to turn our ribs, sternum, head, neck, looking over to the left. Come back to center. Bend your knees. And release. Yeah, I can feel that. This is definitely always a good thing to work that front of the neck to facilitate a little more even length and strength on both sides. Very good. So let's roll to your side. We're going to come up and we're going to come up to standing. So you're going to do whatever you have to do to stand up. But if you can, let's start right here. So I want to work a little bit more on toe flexion. Is there a way that you can come to this position? You can have your hands on the floor here. We're going to tuck the back toes under. Yep. And then set the other foot down and then do this. Yeah. Good. Other side. Come back down and do the other side. Ja, immer abwechselnd. Good. Yeah. Go one more time, other side. Your toes need to be able to be very much tucked. Good. And then maybe we're coming up. Have a chair by, have a sofa, see what you can do. Yeah. Use it. Good. Very good. You did great. Du hast gut gemacht. Now, we'll have one foot back. So here my right foot is forward, my left foot is back. And let's see if we can come back down. Put your hands on the floor. It's okay. Try. Mach, was du kannst. Left foot forward, right foot back. And this is challenging. I'm not saying this is an easy exercise, but it's part of what we need to be able to do so the floor is not a foreign object to our brain. Let's do this one more time. Let's set the left foot forward, right foot back. Now you have an option here. We always do that, or we often do that. We're going to round our spine down. Let's go for that. We're going to round our spine down. Put the fingertips on the floor. Yep, head drops. And then you're going to bend and straighten. Put the fingers down. Yep, and bend and straighten. So we're pulsing a lot. This is a lot of work for the legs. Quads, hamstrings, glutes. And then slowly come back up. That's probably easier. So it's leichter, no? Yeah. Good. Do the other side. Nice. Back heel is lifted. Yep. You're going to bend the knees. Good. Yeah. Bend the knees. Let the head drop. Round your spine. Put the fingertips on the floor. Beautiful. Bend and straighten.
Ja, sehr gut. Lass den Kopf runter. Ja. And think of the sits bones reaching up to the ceiling and then down to the floor. So we're fully present in the hamstrings here. It's not just about bending and straightening your knees. It's really about that reach in the pelvis. Shift back, slowly rounding yourself back up and shake it out. Good. Beautiful. All right. Let's do one more thing here. We should come down to hands and knees. Now, my toes are still tucked. Let's actually widen the knees and bring the feet closer together. And we're going to just rock forward and backward. Widen your fingers. Yeah, yes, beautiful. So the tendency, especially, I think that's a lot with age, that the fingers start to just tighten, and people say I have arthritis, and and my mom definitely has that too. So challenging the width of your fingers, it's your real estate. Also weite Finger, ja, sehr gut. And they're going to go forward and backward. We're going to send the sits bones up. Good. And then rock forward again. Very good. Now untuck the toes and you're going to sit back. Lass die Zehen gehen jetzt. Hold it here for a moment. Let the forehead come to the floor if that's possible. Reach your hands a little more forward in space. Now, if this is too much for the knees, you can always put something underneath your knees, a blanket. You don't have to come all the way back. That's part of what we're working on. And with your forehead on the floor, lift your kidneys, push your shins down into the floor, and think about lifting your hands off the floor. Now, you might not be successful at all, but you are certainly going to feel what's happening in the shoulder. We'll do 4 of those. Forehead is pushing down. You're pushing down into your shins. The forehead doesn't have to be tremendously digging into the floor, but work the legs definitely harder here. And then see if you can lift your hands up off the floor. It's a lot of shoulder flexion. And that comes not easily. This is diligent work here. We'll do one more time. Hanging from a bar or monkey bars or rings or whatever you have, a tree, will definitely help that quite a bit. Very good. And then shift back forward, because we have to do a plank. Have your fingers still wide, and we're going to step 1 foot back. Now, notice if the shoulders want to drop together. Can I push the hands down into the floor? And then maybe I'll set my second leg back. Very good. Engage your glutes. Engage your glutes. Mom gave me the heart out right now. You're going to move side to side. Move, engage the quads. Tone your whole body. Grab on. Pull your hands to your toes and your toes to your hands, so that your front body is working quite a bit. But then can you turn the back body on as well? How much back body work can be done in a plank? You're pulling your shoulders up to the ceiling. You're pulling your low ribs and kidneys up to the ceiling, and then bend your knees and release. So the system gets definitely heated up a bit, and breath gets a little faster, and that's a good thing. We're going to do this one more time. Noch einmal. Wenn du kannst, ne? Ja. Ja. Ja, auf jeden Fall. All right. So tucking your toes under. Notice
if you're starting out here, you don't want to start out here. You want to really send your butt up to the ceiling. Ja, aber die Nieren nicht so runter, die musst du ein bisschen hochheben, dann hast du mehr Abdominals. So if the kidneys are dropping down, that's not good. You want to pick up the kidneys a little bit. Yes, yeah. And then stretch one foot back, stretch the other foot back. And you can have your feet pretty wide here. There's no need to be super close. Have them quite wide. And let's move again a little bit side to side. Moving your plank, even, picking up one foot or one hand eventually is going to exponentially increase the work. Es schaut gut aus. Schaut gut aus, Mutti. Mach schön Popo an, ne? Also es ist schön Arbeit ist da hinten. Make sure your glutes are on. Make sure your kidneys are lifted. Work your legs, work all of your fingers, find your breath. Bend your knees. And then widen the knees again, have your toes together, and then come back into a child's pose. Find your breath. Check in. Maybe feel a little rush of circulation, feel a little rush of adrenaline, maybe a little rush of what is going on here? And that's all good things. We want to challenge the mind. We want to challenge the body. On occasion, in a controlled environment, this is the best thing to practice challenges, because challenges come every day. But if we're learning how to cope with the little uncomfortable discomfort and the, whoa, what's going on? I feel like the outside, it can't throw us quite as much. So thank you for joining today. Thank you to my mom for joining us today. I hope the German was not too annoying. And yeah, have a lovely rest of your day. Bye.